But there is a lot at stake in this election. From my standpoint, when you look at the federal departments and their funding levels, we've just had this hurricane come tearing through Georgia. There are still people here in Georgia today who don't yet have power. I mean, we've seen how it's ravaged North Carolina and other places along the East Coast. It is a question of where are the priorities.
We have these big elections coming up here in the U.S. What do you think is at stake here?
I'll just be frank. We have done a lot on this issue. $30 billion to address public safety, passed the first law in 30 years, and over 50 executive actions, all of which focused on this crisis of gun violence. The previous administration brags about doing nothing on this issue and has already clearly said that they would defund our office. They actually attempted to defund our office already. They've already said that they're not going to take any additional action and that this is just how it is and people need to get over it. We know as an administration that the American people cannot just get over it. We can't just overlook this issue. It's not going to go away just because we're not talking about it. And we also know that more guns do not make our communities safer. So less regulation does not lead to a safer America. And that's how we got here in the first place. And so it's a very clear decision of whether we keep building on this momentum and invest in strategies and policies to prevent violence before it happens, or we just let things play out. And I don't think anyone in my community, or at least in my family, is comfortable with letting things play out.
I think the upcoming election is incredibly important. I mean, I'm going to just say what a lot of people are saying, which is everybody needs to go out and vote like climate change depends on it, because I think that our choices as a government, both from the local level all the way up through federal government, are going to have huge lasting impacts. We know this, right? The science tells us our choices today last for years, decades to come.
Unfortunately, I feel like the concept of sustainability and environmental and social aspects have gotten more politicized than they really should. I'd like to think that regardless of the elections, the corporations will continue to drive and they'll make progress.
I'm going to sidestep the question about the election because I think the lines are drawn pretty clearly there. And instead, I want to talk about the fact that I don't think this should be a political issue. I don't think climate change ever needed to become a political flashpoint that it is now. I also hope that we can work on depoliticizing climate change so that, in the future, any political party will protect the earth, and any political party will be a viable choice for the future of our planet.
So many people are interested in seeing us continue to move forward. And the us is all of us. We are so many different types of people with so many different needs. Where we were 4 years ago, even 6 or 7 years ago, is not where we are today. People have expectations of being heard in the workplace and being respected and treated with dignity in the workplace. And we're focusing on that.
We've been saying for a couple of cycles now that the road to the White House runs through Georgia. It's exciting to be in a swing state and knowing that you can make the difference in the outcome of an election. But it does put a lot more pressure on us too. I think the division that we're seeing in our country today is not sustainable. More and more, we are all retreating to our own echo chambers. More and more, we're not willing to talk to people across the aisle. One of the questions that I actually get quite a bit is, how do you work with the Republicans? Like, how do you stand to even be in the chamber with them? At some point, we've got to start talking to each other and seeing the humanity in each other again, and realizing that for the most part, we all want the same things.